Kamen Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of, almost said Uchi Sentai Key Ranger, of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 35. I should have done like 35, I don't know. Anyway, so that's this episode. I think I got the number right. So, the episode was honestly really good. I thought it was a really great episode of Ex-Aid. A lot of stuff going on. I had mentioned idiotically last week, like I wasn't sure whether Lazer was actually coming back. I mean, not like, period, but the actor, because I couldn't remember the scans, and like people answered, said thank you, you know, that he was in the scans. I could have just looked at the scans. Like, I could have turned the camera off, been like, scans, and then found them, but no, just Chuck Testo to the realistic mount. But the actor is back for it. I was just curious because it was kind of weird the way they went about it in general, because they basically teased Lazer's, as I mentioned last week, they teased Lazer's return in the previous week's promo, but then like when this week happened, or last week happened rather, all we saw was more or less what we saw in the promo. So it was just like, well then why'd you spoil it? You know, there was hardly any new footage. There were like 2 flips that wasn't in it. And then like in the preview for this week, they just showed Lazer in suit, kind of creepily moving. Like I think the thumbnail I'm even using for this video was like when he looks at Chronos, like in the office looking like a duck with a mohawk. And it just like the way it came off creepy, and I thought they were going for the, oh he just revived like a very base version of him that he could control. And that was the whole thing of the episode, is that he kind of came across as very stoic and detached, and that he was loyal to Chronos' cause. And Emma's like, there's no way he would do it. We were best friends for the 4 seconds I didn't treat him like crap before he died. And so they're like, we'll just cure him with M's, you know, godlike ability. And then at the end he's like, you're cured, you're fine now, we'll be best friends again. And then he's not under control at all, or as far as they say, he's been not been reprogrammed, he's just been revived as himself, and he's on board with Chronos. I hope that that's not a lie in any form, that it's not revealed later that there was something done. I don't think it will be, but I like that a lot. I'm not sure where I want it to go. I don't know whether I want him to change his mind and go back to the side of good, whether I don't necessarily want him to just stay straight up evil and get killed again, or jailed, or whatever happens to him at the end. I'm not sure, but I think that was a really cool choice. I mean, because I thought that it was going to be interesting regardless, that he would probably at least want to work with Chronos at the start, just for the fact that the dude that killed him is now working with his old friends. It's kind of funny, because they treated him like crap and never believed him, and then they were like nice to him for the last 4 seconds, and then he comes back and they're working with the guy that killed him. Like, seriously, poor Kyria. But I thought that alone would be interesting, but he's sort of working with them, and he did talk about this whole, like, well, I left you with this job, and you didn't do it right, so, you know, this is a better solution, which seemed like not a weird motivation in general, but just for him, it seemed kind of weird. But I hope we get a little bit more on exactly why he thinks Chronos' way is the way, but I thought it was really neat. It was a really good way to sort of loop back around to one of the more investing stories from the early part of the series with Kyria and in general, right up to his death, and sort of driving home that part of his death was what would have influenced Emu's drive and his. I was gonna make a joke about Drive and I forgot Drive's name. Anyway, I can't remember Drive's name. Anyway, I'm gonna feel like I'm at an E3 press conference again. I'm like just messing up. Like, anyway, here's this game. I forgot my own last name. Anyway, for God's sake, man. The point is, it was well done. I'm glad they went with that. And it's always satisfying to see M get kicked in the face. Like, I've voiced my dislike for Poppy, but like when they started really attacking her, I felt bad for her. Every time Emu gets kicked in the face unexpectedly, I'm just like, so that was fun. And he whispered something into his ear. I'm not sure what it is. It was probably Hail Hydra, old jokes, but I don't know. I liked the way that was done. Also, a big element of this episode, or I thought was big, is we basically found out a good deal more about Chronos' exact motivations, which is something I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. And honestly, I mostly take back everything I said about I hate the people are just being basically sent to the Advent Void from Dragon Knight, and it takes away the stakes. That point still stands. It does take away a certain level of stakes, but now that we know exactly what the plan is basically to use Kamen Rider Chronicle to control people's lives. It's like a giant world domination money thing almost, where it's like they basically control, you know, people's existence. And not only is that a lot cooler of a long game in terms of actually fleshing it out, and it doesn't, I mean, it's crazy, obviously. It's not, oh, that's the same plan. But you know what I mean? If it's like a villain plan, you're like, oh, that's a villain plan that makes sense from a villain point of view, and not like Dan's, where it's like, what coffee pot is his brain? So I like that. And also I thought it was a pretty ingenious way of melding together the video game and the Doctor themes of the whole thing, obviously based on Kamen Rider Chronicle, the real life video game thing, but then the idea that doctors won't be needed anymore. I thought it was a really cool way to blend both, especially coming off last year where I was so excited for a paranormal series and they decided to double down on the eyeball theme in the last quarter of the series. And I'm still not sure what happened there, but so I thought that was really cool, and it's really nice payoff because I've been liking Chronos in terms of his delivery and threat level as an actual villain and not a Tokatsu trash bag like Dan. So I'm really glad we actually got a motivation I can like and get behind. I think it's kind of neat. It's crazy for sure, but it's a cool way to tie everything together. And it makes sense too because I saw a couple people bring up last week or a couple weeks ago that, you know, when he was describing, like, we regulate the amount of people that get deleted and stuff, someone was saying, well, why would he even want people to get deleted? Because, like, the more people playing, the more profits. But now that we know that his whole end game is to be in control over everyone's lives, it makes sense now. Like, because I agreed with that too. I'm like, yeah, that is stupid. Like, why would he even want people to be deleted? Like, because, like, if you get someone to sign up for this game and then they die, then, oh, you're not getting any more money from them. But so, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought that was just a really nice element of the episode, maybe even my favorite, like in addition to just Lazer's stuff, I think, being really strong. And now we have, speaking of Trash Face Dan, he built the Muteki thing, which the only thing I like about that is I think it's kind of neat that they have him building it for him. This is a twist on something I never would have thought of. It's to be like the thing that gets Chronos. I'm not sure. The only other thing I could think of note was they teased Heroes Level 100 Tattle Legacy. It's just like about a family of people that just tattletale all the time. Like, seriously, why tattle? I know there's like, someone told me once like what the meaning was, like the Japan, but it still sounds so lame. I wish it was like, just like fantasy legacy or something, or night legacy, night fantasy, night, what is it, Tattle Quest, Night Quest. I don't know, just something cooler than tattle. But that was teased. I can't think of too much else, but I mainly wanted to focus on the Lazer and Chrono stuff. So I thought it was a really strong entry. I would give this episode an 8.5. I'm looking forward to see where it's going next, for sure. Because it's in that territory right now where I'm honestly not sure. Like, I'm also interested to see how this series, I don't know if I'd ever do it, because I don't rewatch Toku that often, but given a lot of my grievances with the series early on, which a lot of them, mainly with the characters, still stand. I still don't like a lot, or most of the characters. But I'm curious to see how this series would come off binged. That's how I experienced like Kuga through Den-O. And it is a different experience when you binge it as opposed to week, because you get to see the clearer narrative, whereas week to week you have more time to digest. Like the first half of Ex-Aid didn't make sense. I get a feeling that a lot of it will still be awkward and I think poorly done, but there might be some of it that comes across as more seamless and hinting at things that they were doing later. Because right now, it's like I said, it's kind of like the stuff that's happening now I would have never guessed, and I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go, because they have a decent-ish chunk of episodes too. And they've perpetually been feeling like, as the arcs have jumped, they've all felt like we're in the last 5 episodes, that tone of like, well, what are they going to do next? And then they keep doing different stuff. So I'm curious to see where it goes. We'll have to wait a little bit longer. There's no Superhero Time next week. I forgot to mention this in Q Rangers review, but we have a week off from that, so that's a thing. But anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Dawson Rider, signing out.